again. Aren't you happy to see me? So one of the reasons I think for a lot of you potentially wondering why I seem to be a little bit everywhere. This year I am the steward for the impact track and also overseeing the ETHDenver Scholars Program. So because impact is very important and building things that are impactful is very important. So everything that I've kind of done in the work that I've done with Bounties Network, now with the guys at OST and with Pepo, has been about being impactful and about having an effect on whatever situation is happening right now that isn't necessarily serving people or isn't serving them enough. So for me, impact in real life is all about how do we effect change and how do we empower people, which I think we can all agree that that is a very, very good purpose to have when you're talking about a new technology. So for a lot of people, when they think about impact, they think social impact, things happening in lands far, far away, and it has to do with, I don't know, Africa, it has to do with the dire state of the environment and so on. But actually, if you look at the definition of impact, it is have a strong effect on someone or something. This can be anywhere, at any time, in any location. Anybody who right now isn't being served by the current systems, by the current socioeconomical frameworks, could benefit from a change, from an alternative, and maybe we are here to build those alternatives. And one of the main things that I've always looked at has been how do we go out and pilot, test, very, very quickly, be able to iterate, reiterate, learn very, very quickly so that we actually produce the value that we keep talking about. Let's do a little bit of the walking whilst we also do the talking. Some stats for you. This is something that you see, and you know, a lot of people are aware of these. It's pretty dire, and for a lot of the for a lot of these stats, you look and think these are lands far, far away. For where we are, certainly here, it's not necessarily something that we worry about because the current systems pretty much serve the vast majority of us here. Certainly North America, certainly Western Europe. But let's look at some very interesting good old American stats. This is the situation right now. And this kind of fluctuates because different years, different reports, different surveys. But the key thing here isn't to just look at the unbanked, is to look at the underbanked. What underbanked means is that you are not being served by whatever system is in place right now. They're there for you to use, but it may not be in your best interest or may not actually deliver the value that you need. And so for a lot of households, for a lot of people, for a lot of areas, even in the United States, if you look, for instance, at New York, there are certain areas in New York where there are no banks, no bank branches. Yes, I might have an account, but there is no way for me to actively benefit from that current system. And this is what we are looking at in terms of how could this be improved? How can we do better? How can we enable opportunity, choice, access for everyone? And I think, and I hope you all agree with me, that the mechanisms that we could build on Ethereum with crypto can be those solutions. Nobody's saying that it's the only solution, but let's at least try and see what happens. And so this whole thing of opportunity and choice is very much something that I believe blockchain and Ethereum in particular is all about. And this can apply to anybody. Let's not even talk about the unbanked and the underbanked. Let's talk about people maybe stuck in a job that they hate because they cannot see an alternative, because they cannot tap into something else. They cannot try something else. And when you're talking about that, you're essentially talking about, again, broadening access to information, education. Maybe I want to re-educate myself, but I can't because I'm stuck in a circle of debt. How about we introduce some earn-as-you-learn models for education where somebody could earn as they're learning and create a new alternative income source for themselves. Mobilizing people within the communities. I'm actually very excited to see Governor Paulus's talk after I wrap up and they set up the stage, because actually involving communities and individuals into the running of a certain community or a certain local authority is potentially a solution. Reward them for the time that they put in. Reward citizens for their involvement, their active involvement in the running of a community, of a local authority, right? We are at this point, we are in complete apathy because we don't have the mechanisms to actively participate or the means to get rewarded for our active participation. We are only rewarded for a very small percentage or a very limited skill set that we, use in our 9-to-5s. Not necessarily here, but the vast majority. We are not one-dimensional. We are 360-degree humans with all sorts of talents and abilities that if we find the mechanisms to actually, tap into those and reward those, that participation, it could be that opportunity interest that we are looking at. And create alternatives. Again, that's pretty much what I mean by all of these. So making an impact, and for anybody hacking on the impact track, again, you can do it through DevFolio, so you have the open track and the impact track. I would keep these things in mind, and again, drawing from what the OSC team mentioned earlier, it is very much about what is the problem, is there a solution, is there a problem specific to me or my community that would benefit from a solution, a blockchain solution. And these are some of the things that I've already tried and tested and piloted and learned from. So, transparent funding. You can crowdsource money from people all over the world in a much easier way than right now. I gave the example earlier, and I'll mention it in a second. The fact that you can contribute funds without needing a bank account, without paying international banking transfer fees, without potentially sending it to a country that is or is not part of the SWIFT network, because again, that is a network that is actually very small, it turns out. New means of income. This is very important. There are a lot of jobs that are evolving. There are a lot of jobs that are disappearing. There are a lot of jobs that should potentially evolve. Creating these opportunities to earn a living or an income from several sources, from diverse sources, is very important. Let's think about that when we hack. And lasting change. Creating frameworks to, again, involve and engage citizens. This is very important. Right now we have upper echelons making decisions, nothing everybody else. Let's maybe try to fill that nothing with some valuable things. An example illustrating this, because I said I've done all of those three things, this thing, and I'm sure a lot of you know of it, for anybody who doesn't, this was a project that we ran in the Philippines where we pay people with ETH to clean up a beach in Manila Bay. The cool things about this is we crowdsourced the funds for the bounty from regular people, from other projects in the ecosystem. I even had somebody message me on LinkedIn saying, hey, I just got paid for a technical interview. Can I donate it all? Just contribute it to the bounty. Yes, you can. And that's it. Being able to give people the tools to, again, access new means of resource. This is, again, what we did. We onboarded the group of fishermen that participated in this cleanup onto Web3 wallets. It was painful as hell. It was horrific. But we did it. And what happened? A certain percentage of those people continued to fulfill other bounties, do other things to receive an income. And it wasn't necessarily something that just focused on their fisherman skill set, right? They got involved in some art bounties. They participated in some UX bounties. Again, looking at the value that each of us produce, not just in a very, very narrow window. These are some of the things that we did. Again, we needed to make sure that they had an off-ramp from ETH to Filipino peso, which we did. We partnered with coins.ph. I'm just mentioning this because I don't want you to think that we just gave them magic internet money and then left. We didn't. Re-engineering the flow of money. Again, you think about money flowing to certain areas in need. You always think charities, how much do they take a cut of? How much money does it actually end up on the ground? Being able to re-engineer it through a smart contract layer could potentially provide the transparency and the direct flows that we completely lack right now, and creating new opportunities again. These are the environmental stats that we got from this pilot in the Philippines. This cleanup literally took 2.5 hours per day for 2 days, and we had 224 people. We collected 3.3 tons of trash. But the Philippines do have a very big thing. It is so small in the great scheme of things, but what if we had these things happening at all times, everywhere, right? It is possible. This is the thing. I didn't set up an office there. I don't have staff that I pay. There for 2 days, give people the tools, and then they will use them and actually maybe at some point, maybe even expand their use. Brandon in crypto, I want to touch on this because this is something that I mentioned in the UX workshop that we did just an hour ago. But this was an important piece in terms of, again, that unbanked situation where Brandon was doing bounties to earn a living. I posted a video on Pepo. You can see he had messaged me saying his laptop had died. And so posted a video on Pepo telling, asking people, hey, is there anybody in Phoenix, Arizona who might have a secondhand laptop? Turns out there wasn't. But what happened was 48 hours later, I had $250 worth of Pepo coins that I then transferred into an Amazon voucher, sent him the voucher. He got a laptop, basic, but still, got it delivered to an Amazon pickup point, and the local library is taking care of it at night for him so that it doesn't get stolen or damaged. This is what I mean about impact IRL. Think about the people and how these solutions can actually get people into that opportunity status, into that access status. BUIDL the change you want to see in the world. I think this is very important, and I think we lose sight of that sometimes because everything is super fun when we go to hackathons. We see friends, and they're wonderful, and I love them dearly. But let's also maybe think, hey, if we are not going to just be a little flash in the pan that happened in some corner of the internet, maybe we need to give people these real-life examples, these actual real-life applications that genuinely improve people's lives, improve chances of opportunity, chances of diversifying the resources that we access. And that is about it. So thank you very much. Hack on in the impact track.